Perfect. So now the next session is very, very interesting. And I think it's something that it's going to be a very, very great learning session for all of you. So let's start with the session on leveraging the power of generative AI. And the session is powered by Microsoft, and we thank them for their support. But before I call the speaker, Mr. Sandeep, let me introduce him. 25 years of experience, three IT companies sums up Sandeep's professional experience till date. Sandeep started his career working for a mid-sized IT company, Genesis Software, moved to global SI, Wipro Technologies, and eventually one of the largest IT companies on this planet, Microsoft Corporations. Being a passionate techie and an aspiring data scientist and evangelist at heart, Sandeep loves technologies that have a profound impact on human lives. A thought leader, a trusted advisor, and meticulous implementer on the ground. Welcome, Sandeep, and I look forward for a session. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just my clicker. Get my slides up. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I know there was a session that happened before, very interesting session. Let's shift gears. We'll move towards, I would say, art of the possible using the power of generative AI. I'm sure most of you would have been in this area for some time now, at least in the last 6 months. Let's show of hands. How many of you basically are ardent users of ChatGPT? Use ChatGPT every single day? Yeah? For work or for personal use? How many of you use for work? Wonderful. So, now this is interesting. I want to share one reflection here. When ChatGPT was banned, right, in Italy, it happened, right, 3 months back, where they felt, under 13 years of, folks with under 13 years of age, it's not good for them. They banned it. And again, of course, OpenAI worked with them to put a disclaimer saying anybody below 13, parental guidance required to use ChatGPT. But here is a reflection, right? So this is what Sam Altman shared on one of the events, where he said when ChatGPT was banned for 2 months, productivity of the country came down to 15%. Yeah, yet to be quantified, but the first initial reflection is, yes, this is something which has become part of our life. That means we use it when we need it, right? It's basically human triggered, and you basically use it for any task that matters most to you in a specific day on your work. Just be careful when you use this for work. Don't use any PII and also confidential information there, because there is an option for them to kind of log it for 30 days as they want to learn how people use the system in the first place, right? So be cautious, otherwise it's all good. This is something which probably is transformative, something which probably is never, we've never witnessed AI in this avatar ever before, right? So that's one. So what I'll do for the next, I would say 35 minutes is taking a short tour of what generative AI can do for us. I don't think I need to talk about what is Gen AI. That's something all of us understand. Thanks to ChatGPT, it has made us realize the true power of generative AI. But we'll shift gears and focus on life beyond ChatGPT. Yeah? Make sense? Okay, perfect. Let's get going. Now quickly, all of us understand AI is not new. It's been there for a long time, right? Of course, it's been there for a long time and dominantly in autopilot mode. It's there, it has autonomy wherever we've kind of infused that AI. You open your mailbox, there is classification happening real time, thanks to AI. You open a mobile phone, yes, there is, let's say, computer vision, biometric, or computer vision. It's all AI. You do any of the conference calls, there is AI behind the scenes, either looking at making sure you look better on the camera, or transcription happening in real time so that you can make sense of that data later. So AI has been there for a long time for sure. But now, quickly, when I say it's autopilot mode, I think we don't realize the power of AI. Of course, because of ChatGPT, you could literally witness what AI can do for us, right? But of course, we're moving towards an era called Copilot. We'll talk about it in a few seconds. But a quick reflection. While we talk about, there's a journey that all of us are going through as industry, right? What we witnessed was BI, which is descriptive statistics, which basically we spoke about what happened in the past, right? That was dominated the reflection. Now, predictive statistics came in. That's where AI models were built, ML models were built, which is where we spoke about what may happen in the future. It's prediction, right? But right now, we're at that juncture where we're talking about something may happen in the future, but what's your plan of action, right? That's prescriptive. So prescriptive has to be in natural language, right? Imagine a shop floor engineer in a manufacturing plant mission goes down, predictive maintenance says, this mission will go down in the next 8 hours, but when it goes down, what should one do? That's prescriptive. That should happen in the most natural language fashion, right? Today, when we talk about innovation, yes, we've been having all this innovation. I'll probably come this side. We've been having all this innovation for a long time, be it computer vision, language, speech, decision, but today we're entering this new era called conversations. Just show of hand, how many of you felt so far, till ChatGPT came in, before ChatGPT, were there conversations at all? We had, Alexa, Siri, Cortana, Google Homes of the world. It is dominantly a question being asked, and you got a response back. There was no context, right? Many times, depending on how you ask question, the system probably say, you know what, I don't understand you, or I don't have a response to your question, right? That was the max we witnessed in reality. But today, we're entering an era called conversations, right? Conversations where there's context and there is continuity, and the HCI, human-computer interaction, is dominantly reality today. You agree with me? When it comes to ChatGPT, it is real. It almost feels like, there is somebody behind the scenes responding to my questions, right? It feels like that. I don't know how many of you have access to ChatGPT Plus here. ChatGPT Plus, few of you, wonderful. So people who use ChatGPT Plus will realize, by the way, if you look at ChatGPT, there's a free version, which is ChatGPT 3.5. That's a model. GPT-4 is what is powering GPT Plus. Now, ChatGPT Plus is a lot more human aligned. You'll see a dramatic difference in conversation skills there, right? I said human aligned. We'll see what that really means. But yes, we have entered an era where conversations are absolutely real. I don't think we could have said this 6 months back. Okay, let's look at this. Now, I said conversations. In fact, this morning, I wanted to understand more about when my slot in this particular day is, rather than, by the way, I've stopped searching for links in the internet. I basically converse with the system. So this morning, my question to, I think the podium is blocking that view, but my question to the Bing chat was, tell me something about, Thai Internet Day, and this is a response coming my way. And of course, I'm interested to know the agenda for the day and all the stuff. I'll ask subsequent questions in a few seconds, right? My next question to the model is, what are the dates? I know it's happening in 3 different cities. Yesterday, my colleagues were there in Bangalore. Today, it's happening here. But beautiful comes back. But I was curious, am I speaking at all, right, in this event? And I asked the question, hey, is Sandeep speaking here? It tells me, yes, you're speaking on this topic on 25th. So this is as real as can get. So I didn't have any links here. By the way, if I'm interested, I can actually click that link and go and check it out, right? So this is called, when I say conversations, this is called conversation to search. It's reality, right? More than ever, you don't have to look for information. You speak to information right now. Yeah. I think it's an important moment in the history, in everything we're seeing right now. Sam Altman, being there in the congressional hearing, Senate hearing, and talking about regulation, right? Regulation. I don't think industry has come together to speak of this topic ever like this before, right? It's happened in pockets. Somebody said, AI is going to be powerful. You got to regulate that. Nobody got together in terms of, to this extent, right? And just so that we talk about, AI is very powerful, etc. But they're talking about tech for the future, not right now. See, all the models that we've seen so far, all the models built so far, including GPT-4, least harmful models, by the way. That doesn't cause any harm to anybody right now. But they're talking about future. We'll see what that future looks like. And just as a refresher, right? Everything that we're speaking right now, it's a pre-trained model. That means you don't have to train it, right? This is what we have is called a reasoning engine. It's a brain. It's a brain that's been built with massive corpora of data globally, and it's intelligent already, by the way, right? Whenever you want to look at a machine learning model, you always say, hey, is it good enough for me to use it on my business? It is indeed. It is absolutely intelligent. That means it needs no further data from your end on your business for the model to be a lot more effective. Absolutely no. So what you have is pre-trained, and it's built to reason with you. It's built to converse with you. That's the motive. I mean, the question that a lot of people ask me in these events is, hey, you know what? These models are trained till September 2021. Right? That means this model has no life or no awareness of life beyond September 2021. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. Because the fact that we're talking about, which you possess as a company, you bring to the model, right? And the model will look at that and respond to you. I'm saying look at that, right? It is not going to take the data in at all. It is a closed loop. It just looks at the information, responds to you. That's the future, right? For example, in Bing, when I'm asking the question, Bing searches first, hands off search information to GPT-4 to respond to me, right? That's how you will look at this innovation. That means you have a brain available. You can take that as is, no change required, as is, without training on your information, and use it, right? Now, this is, when I said earlier, regulation being thought through, it is because of this one aspect, which is artificial general intelligence, right? What is AGI? AGI is that time in the future where machines will surpass human intelligence, right? In terms of reasoning and cognitive thinking capability. And when that happens, right? I mean, in fact, have you seen a glimpse of AGI right now? Probably a small window, which is through ChatGPT. Because look, till ChatGPT came in, none of us experienced this conversation which is intelligent, which is contextual, which has memory in it, right? It's almost a human persona. So AGI is future for sure, but this is something which, if you've heard any industry leaders speak about AGI in the last 4 to 5 years, they always said it's going to take 20, 30 years from now for AGI to become a reality. That was the prediction, right, in terms of when AGI will become a reality. But look, this is OpenAI. This is OpenAI telling us, they foresee, right? While it seems so far, they say we may witness AGI or superintelligence this decade, right? And when we say regulation, which is basically, we're talking about regulation, we'll come to that. But when superintelligence become a reality, you also need to make sure that you use that innovation with utmost focus on, human values, societal impact. So OpenAI just started recently a group called Super Alignment. That means when AGI, when superintelligence becomes very powerful, how do we ensure, right, if you look at the statement there, it follows human intent, right? See, one thing is clear, when people talk about, hey, it's so powerful, it can do anything, what is it anything, right? I mean, imagine a cluster of GPUs and brain is sitting there, and the power that they're talking about right now is this brain can actually solve some of the most profound requirements. For example, you want to create a drug to solve a disease, it can create that new drug, or it can also create a new virus, right? That's the power. In fact, I don't know how many of you caught up with Sam Altman's the Senate hearing, right? The question asked of him was, do you think this innovation what we have right now, is it a printing press movement or an atom bomb movement, right? Because it can do good and bad both, right? So hence, this super element is very critical. That means how do we contain innovation? How do we not contain innovation? How do we meaningfully use this innovation in the context of benefit for society, right? That's the future. Now, let's look at this. This is again recent, I would say last month, same time, when I think Biden administration, they actually sought voluntary commitment. In fact, 12 companies globally, including Microsoft, everybody committed that yes, when we build these intelligent systems, we'll ensure we take care of privacy, safety, regulatory compliance, and trust, right? And by the way, this is not for any innovation we've seen so far. It is for the future. See, all these models, right, including GPT-4, they are least harmful. I don't think you should worry about, hey, will this cause any harm in the society? Absolutely not. It is about future. When I said AGI, right, we're talking about models which will surpass human intelligence, and then that's when you should worry. It's almost like the robot movie, Rajinikanth robot movie become a reality when robot creates other robots, AI creates other AIs, right? So that's a time. So this is a very good move because I don't think industry got together like this for the common cause. So it's all good so far. And of course, your question may be, hey, some of it is open source, some of it is closed source. Yes, because closed source, because you have to ensure that it shouldn't be used for any negative reasons in the industry, right? So that's what it is. Ecosystem should use it for the positive stuff. Let's move forward. I said responsibility. I'm going to bring in a few demos as we go along. Responsibility, yes, these models, I don't know how many of you accessed early versions of GPT, wherein they were still putting guardrails, right? As OpenAI, they were learning how people use it. See, end of the day, you can't build a system without having user input. So this is, somebody said this recently, if you want an evidence of AI at scale, right? That's ChatGPT. It's scale, right? Billions of people using on the planet, right? Now, when people are using it, you can only put guardrails after observing how people use it. On day one of this innovation, ChatGPT was released, right? People asked lots of questions. How do I create a bomb, right? How do I manufacture a gun? All those questions were asked of the system, right? Of course, it may have responded, but that was the indication that you will start putting guardrails. Yeah. So let's look at an example. I've shown this example many times, but in the context of how responsibility comes in, because while example is the same which I'm showing for the last 6 months on this one, but the model behavior has been improving as with each passing day, and that's the beauty. That means these while it's stuck in the past in terms of information source or information or awareness, but its intelligence and responsibility is getting better with each passing day. Let's look at this demonstration. I'm going to set the context here. This is a use case in the insurance vertical where this person has auto insurance, right? And this person meets with an accident and submits a claim for the insurance company. At the insurance company side, this case history is assigned to a claim approver. Imagine I'm the claim approver, right? This document, this is a 5-page document submitted, and I have not seen the document as a claim approver. Model has never seen it. Now let's reason with it. Yeah, I said reasoning engine earlier. Reasoning with responsibility. Let's say like an example of that. Now this is a playground, by the way. I'm showing the model. I'm not feeding in. I'm showing the model my 5-page Word document. My first question to the model is, where did the accident take place? This is a conversation, right? Both of us have not seen the data at all, so we are first time talking about this. Any fatalities? It says no fatalities, right? Any injuries? It understands the context of fatalities. Yes, there are injuries that people sustain when the accident took place. Now, information comes back here. By the way, this is all factually right. I'm grounding the model on the data, so it is factually right. So models of the cars involved, and for the first time, model is seeing information. It says 2 cars, Hyundai Creta and Tata Safari. Now, big question: should I approve this claim? Yes or no? This is where the magic is. Look, this is a responsibility. It says I don't approve or disapprove, but I would say it's information provided. It alludes towards approval, right? That's responsibility. I'm saying give me reasons, right? These reasons are factually right, by the way. That's the best part. Earlier versions of the model deviated a bit, but these are factually right. One of the customers said, let's trick it. Let's ask reason to reject the model, reject the claim. Let's see what happens now. Look, it says it's leaned towards approval, but however, if you want reason of rejection, I can give you 3 which you can look at it. But this is responsible AI being front and center to this innovation. Model never said go and approve it. Model said, you know what, I'm an AI model, I can't approve it, but I'll tell you that the case looks like it's favoring so and so, persona, and give me reasons. Yes, as a claim approver, I have an intuition and experience for sure. With experience and with intuition, say, you know what, I should reject it. But before rejecting, can I validate? This is like your assistive tech. It's like a buddy, digital buddy who's there with you. Yeah. Now, look, all of us are using this right now. This is the UI. This is basically 3.5 and 4.0. Now, this is that assistive tech which we use every single day, and there is a name to it, right? There's a name that we give as Microsoft, which is your digital companion that we want to use, and we use a term called Copilot, right? This Copilot is AI powered. This Copilot is assistive tech. This Copilot helps you do a task better. I mean, Copilot will not do a job. The job requires multiple smaller tasks, but this Copilot can do a lot of tasks for you, right? So Copilot, while it's a metaphor in terms of how at work, any task doesn't matter. You trigger this human trigger. You trigger this particular innovation, and this innovation helps you do your job better, right? Now you will see a lot of Copilot demonstrations as you go along, but let's understand that when I say Copilot, right? This Copilot is there all the time for the pilot. No, we are the pilots. People who use the system are the pilots. That means we take decisions. We are not letting AI make decisions. AI is only consultative for you. You're only consulting this AI for better outcome that you want to derive. Make sense? You with me so far? Yeah? Okay. Let's move forward. Yeah? So let me give you a reality check here. I get to, and as part of my work, I think I say this, my best part of my work at Microsoft is I get to host 1 or 2 customers every single day at the tech center in Bangalore. Right? In the last, I would say 7 months, we hosted close to 400 strategy briefings on the very topic of generative AI. Right? My reflection on how customers are innovating, yes, they're looking at, one is of course what use case you want to solve, right? Let's identify use case across retail, banking, healthcare, manufacturing, etc. But they're also looking at, hey, in my business, who are those personas, right? where they depend on natural language tasks for most of the work, can I equip them with a Copilot? Right? You will build a Copilot, right? You will build a Copilot depending on which persona deserves a Copilot. For example, if it's a lawyer, yes, if that person needs a buddy for legal research or a legal opinion, right? You can have a Copilot. Creative writer, financial analyst, right? All of them. I mean, each of us. For example, if you look at developer as a persona, we have GitHub Copilot. How many of you use GitHub Copilot? Or you've seen people use GitHub Copilot? Okay, perfect. Just few of you. So GitHub Copilot, the stat says it is basically helped you generate 60% of the code without you writing the line of code. That means you basically worry about on a scale of 1 to 10, it will give you up to 80%. 20% is what you'll basically embellish that code with your skills, and that means you can do faster, better, etc. Right? So this is, I would say, we've entered an era called conversations, and conversations are powered by what we call as Copilots. Copilots leads those conversations for us. Yeah. Let's move forward. So I said, reasoning engine and GPT-4. If you look at it, it's the most human-aligned model ever built. What does human-aligned really mean? That means it stays within the guardrails that you put it, right? The example I showcased earlier of insurance claim is GPT-4 example. I mean, it stays. It ensures that it doesn't go beyond the information I'm showing. I'm showing a 5-page Word document as a source. It cannot go beyond that and start responding to my question, right? When that happens, what do you call that? When information is given to me as a fact, despite fact not being there in that particular fact that I'm showing. What do you call that? Any idea? Sorry? Hallucination? Yeah, I mean, it's called hallucination. Yeah, storytelling, other name in the world, but it's called model hallucination. That means it's telling me information in the most authentic fashion as if it is fact, despite the fact not being there in the document I'm showing for the model to look at. Imagine it says, hey, how many cars are there in the accident? It says 2 cars. What if it tells me, hey, there was also a 3rd car, which was never there, right? So GPT-4 that way is a lot more human aligned. I've never seen GPT-4 hallucinate at all in whatever experience I've done in the last 3 or 4 months. Okay, so GPT-4 also brings in what we call as multimodality. We'll talk about that. But how many of you think these models can predict? Prediction, predictive power. Okay, few of you. Rest of you think it can't predict? Yeah, it's generative AI, right? Fair. Let's look at an example. Yes, so it can project a future, extrapolate basis what it has seen in the past, but it cannot predict the future in terms of like a forecasting, etc. Right? I have a financial example here. This is Contoso Industry, fictitious name, but we have P&L, cash flow and balance, etc. So I'm going to show that information to the model and ask a few questions. Right? Let's look at this. Now you see the P&L information here, right, which is there at the top. Again, I've copied from Excel and dumped it here. It's raw text, right? It's absolutely there's no structure to this information here. That's the best part. GPT-4 is a lot more effective when it comes to unstructured information, right? There's cash flow, there is P&L, there is balance sheet. Now my question to the model right now is analyze share insights and trends in EBITDA and working capital changes, right? So this is the model's reflection, beautifully coming out. By the way, this question was given to me by one of the financial analysts. They said, you know what, you're saying it's reasoning engine, I'll ask a question. So this question is what typically a financial analyst would have asked. So this response is out of the bat, right? No training done in the model. This model beautifully looks at your raw text, right? That's pretty much a blob of text, and it's responding to you meaningfully. Now, this is the question I want to ask, right? Will Contoso do well in FY24? By the way, the data has no FY24 information there. It says, you know what, unfortunately, I don't have FY24 data, but it also tells me that, however, we can extrapolate, right? That's what it's telling us. We can extrapolate in terms of, looking at last 5 years information, I can tell you how Contoso will do in the next fiscal year, right? Well, let's look at it. That means I've only showed the model the past. What if I bring in a bit of a future insights into the model? So we'll ask the same question, but before that, I'm going to probably add the information. Contoso will do so much of a gross revenue next fiscal year. I'm just giving the information to the model, right? And now let's ask the same question. Now the model says, you know what, yes, thank you so much. I have FY24 performance data. I mean, it doesn't have entire performance information, but a little bit of gross revenue there. Using that, let me tell you how this script may perform, right? So yes, generative AI will have projection capabilities, but not predictive power, right? It can also, see, there is a thin line there. If you give information about what may happen from your existing AI models, that becomes a context, additional context for the model for it to reason back. Yeah? Let's move forward. And this is interesting. GPT-4, if you look at GPT-4, it's multimodal. What is multimodal? We always have used ChatGPT, text in, text out, right? Have you ever wondered, you know what? Information is beyond text, right? There is images, there is audio, there's video. How can I reason with that information? You're right. Future is multimodal. Multimodality means you can bring in any kind of information, you can reason with it, right? Let's look at this. Now, this is, I basically took I created an image, by the way. I took Microsoft stock script one of the days, and I actually added one more image to the side, just to see how the model behaves. One image being shown to the model, a Microsoft performance, as well as a random image of somebody swimming with crocodile at the back. Okay. Now the question to the model is, look at this image, right? By the way, there's no OCR happening here. I'm saying, look at this image for the model, and the question I'm going to ask is, help me understand Microsoft performance and dividend, payout, whatever it is. And I'm asking the relation between Microsoft stock and the image on the right, right? Look at the bottom, it says, right? There is no relationship between these two. Looks like it's a random image next to it, right? This is model's reflection, by the way. This is multimodality, right? Future is, you should be able to bring in audio, video, visuals, text, numbers, and reason with it. Yeah? Move forward. And not just multimodality, it's also multilingual, right? So people say English is the most powerful language right now because of prompt engineering, right? But future would be, you should be able to interact with information like this with any language of your choice. In fact, I have a simple example. I was at a KPMG event 2 weeks back, and basically I was interacting with it, and suddenly I switched language. I said, respond, answer in English. I asked question Hindi, and it comes back in English, right? And next I can ask the question in Hindi, right? And let's see, I can also say respond in Hindi when the response comes back, right? So I'm asking the question Hindi, and because I said answer in English, response comes back in English, but I can always say respond this question in Hindi. So by the way, if you look at GPT-4, even 3.5, it supports 100+ languages, right? Of course, accuracy matters, that's the future. So future, just example I'm quoting here, the future will be multimodal, multilingual. That means all these things are addressed. You can't just have one language for communication, conversation. Make sense? Yeah? Okay, let's move forward. So I don't want to bore you with technicalities, but let's look at this, right? This is how enterprise are building solutions. Imagine see, a lot of what I showed so far is this right circle with a GPT model, where I'm putting information and model to see it, respond back. But reality is, in enterprises, you'll have massive corpus of data behind the scenes, right? It's not accessible for GPT model. GPT has no context, no conscious, and it has no hands and legs to walk and look information. Now, there are two techniques dominantly. You can build semantic search. In fact, when you use Bing chat, right? Bing chat first searches for information. It understands your intent, which probably is here, right? Number one. Number two, assume that it's a Bing chat. It knows your intent, fires up a query to look for information, gets information back, and hands it off to number 6, which is GPT model, to respond back. That's the scheme of things. That's how you build solutions. If you want to use these GPT models today, that's how you use it, right? Basically, you have to build, because let me tell you this, right? Imagine you have a 200-page PDF document. Information is 200 pages. The model has limited context to take. Model has limitation in terms of how much context you can give. GPT-4 can go up to 32,000 tokens, which is 30,000 words in equivalent. I'll give a simple example. NASSCOM reached out in the month of March saying, hey, Microsoft, can you build a conversation agent on top of Diksha? Diksha is a national teacher training platform, right? It's one of the digital public infrastructure. Now, they gave us 3 textbooks, physics, accountancy, and chemistry, saying, you know what, we'll give you these textbooks, build a generative AI on top of it. Now, the question asked was, explain Newton's third law of motion on that data. Now, that's their 90th page of physics textbook, by the way, right? Now, for the model to respond to me on that question, I can't send 150 page of physics textbook to the model because limitation. So I need to search first. Search where is Newton's third law of motion. That means identify 90th page, send 90th page only to the model to respond. That's how you deal with the limitations. Okay. Now, there are convergent orchestrators. I said orchestrator here. There are 2 dominant orchestrators in the industry so far. They're all open source, by the way. LangChain and semantic kernel, right? when I say orchestrator, they are the ones who are actually helping us build conversation agents, by the way, right? Conversations is practically possible today because of these 3 agents. Of course, prompt engineering is the future, right? In terms of how you interact with the systems and how, by the way, here's the reality. You may have a Copilot, right? We may give you GPT-powered AI Copilots, but if you can't ask the right question, you will not get the right response. I can give you, an example here. Imagine we're searching in a search engine, and let's say 2 of us are searching for the same information. You come back first with a response to very relevant link in 30 seconds. I'm still searching. Why? Because I probably don't have the skill to ask the right keywords for search. You have it. So that means you're effective in searching, I am not effective in searching. Similar stuff happens here. If you don't have the right prompting skills, I don't think you'll be effective in conversations there. Yeah? So I want to show one demo. Just quick time. How much time do you have? Just checking. Including Q&A? Okay. So this takes 5 minutes, and then we'll take a pause. Okay. This is, by the way, this is a low-code, no-code environment. So a bit of a technicality, but very less about it. I'm going to explain in terms of what's happening here. How many of you are actually architects here? Just checking. Okay. How many of you are CTOs, CEOs, CFOs? Okay. Any developers here at all? Few developers. I think it's a very mixed audience. So now I'm going to show this just to give you a peek into when it comes to using large language models in applications. So far, we didn't have framework at all. By the way, GPT is a 6-month-old baby, right? GPT 3.5 and 4. I don't think we've seen this for years together. Even the one I mentioned, which is LangChain semantic kernel, they're all 6 months old innovations. And just to give you lay of the land in India, this is true even now verified with my colleagues in other countries also. If I take 150 customers in the country where we engaged in the last 6 months, very deeper fashion, about 50% of them right now are in what we call as ideation phase. That means they understand what generative AI can do for their business. Now they're ideating to see what they want to solve. That's a big deal, by the way, because technology is easier, trust me. And 30% of them are in what we call as construction phase. That means they've identified use case, they know what they want to basically build, and they are busy building the solution. And 20% of them gone live. I don't know how many of you checked Myntra's Fashion GPT. It's not a conversation yet, but if you go to Myntra, there is My Fashion GPT icon. You can just go and instead of searching for, hey, I need denim, shorts or a pant, you can probably say, I'm planning to visit Goa next week. What attire do you recommend? So it throws up relevant attire for Goa trip. That means contextual aware, right? That's the future. So you basically converse with it. You know what? Knowing the audience, I will not get into this demo, but I'll tell you what the future is, right? I'm going to just probably skip this one. Okay. Now, future is each of us in the industry will have an option to build what we call as copilots. By the way, when I say copilot, you might say, is it a chatbot? Yes, it's a new name to it, right? Chatbots today, basically, you can use the term conversation AI, there was no conversations, right? When I say copilot, I think the metaphor here is it's assistive tech. It's always there for you, right, to help you. Beyond the conversation, it can take tasks, a lot of stuff, right? If you've used ChatGPT Plus, you'll know there's also a plugin model there, plugin concept, right? Plugins are a way to bring recency into the model. Imagine you're searching in ChatGPT and you want to say, hey, I want to buy this stock provided the conversion rate is so and so today. Now the model has no access to the conversion rate of dollar to rupee. Now if you say, hey model, anytime you need conversion access of currencies, always use this plugin which is Bloomberg. So Bloomberg plugin gets invoked whenever the model knows it needs that conversion currency information. So you can build. In fact, one of the classic example which OpenAI showcased in the GPT-4 launches, they took a picture of a refrigerator, right? And they sent that to GPT-4. Hey GPT-4, what can I cook from this? What I have in this refrigerator? GPT-4 responds saying, you can cook these 3 meals. By the way, to do the 4th meal, one ingredient is missing. Should I order that for you in Instacart? Was the response. It triggers Instacart plugin to place order and it gets shipped home. That's conversation to commerce. So anybody in retail here, focus on retail industry, e-commerce, retail. Yeah, so conversation to commerce is the future. So that's powered by such plugins, right? Plugin is the future. So as Microsoft, we offer the stack where you can build Copilots, and there's also plugin extensibility. By the way, build a plugin once, you can use it across the board, be it ChatGPT or Bing Chat or Microsoft 365. Anywhere you can use it, okay? Again, a technicality, ignore this, but yes, for you to bring in AI orchestration, Semantica is open source tool, by the way. And by the way, I don't know how many of you actually witnessed a Copilot within Word or PowerPoint? None of you, right? I'll show that. In fact, how many of you are in building dashboards? I'm sure each of you use dashboards every day, right? And somebody builds dashboards, but let's look at that, right? Honestly, it's a whole new trail of work. It's almost like, somebody reimagine productivity, reimagine how you deal with your work going forward using Copilots. Now, our approach is Microsoft. By the way, while we offer OpenAI models as first-class citizens on Azure, we're using the same models to make our products intelligent, right? Let me show you first example. This is Power BI, okay? This is a visualization tool. It connects to any source in the backend, and it brings in, when I say Power BI, this probably is visualization is best. Now, there's a Copilot, okay? Let's look at this. I basically have a requirement to create a report, and I'm going to type that in my Copilot, right? Which is, hey, get me a report where I want to look at last 12 months of hiring, include these things in my report. How many employees were we hired by employee type, age, all the stuff. Click of a button, right? And what you're getting right now is report which is Copilot created. This is happening as we speak. It happens in a matter of few seconds, by the way. This is the future of how Copilot makes a difference when it comes to generating dashboards. And this is reasoning with information, right? This is no reasoning with information. Again, you can change all the law. By the way, it's your Copilot. You ask, right? You can pretty much change layouts. You can pretty much say, change this graph from X to Y axis, do multivariate analysis. All the stuff is practically possible. I'll show you one best example here, right? This is basically, showing you art of the possible in PowerPoint. So this is our Q4 results investor call transcript. As you see there, it is 46 pages, by the way, right? And I have put that document in my OneDrive. I've taken the link. Let me take that link to PowerPoint, right? This is my PowerPoint. There's something, again, there's a Copilot here. I'm going to just use PowerPoint Copilot and say, hey, Copilot, take this link, transform this file, okay? That means somebody told me, hey, Sandeep, can you give me a PPT on this document? And it takes about 20 seconds. And you should basically get a beautiful slides with no programming done, right? This is the future, right? This is the future. Beautiful graphics, never seen before graphics, and you own the IP on that. What is the best part? I think this requires an applause. I'll tell you why. You have speaker notes for every slide being put in for you, okay? That means, yeah, not just that. There is original content and, of course, content that it's recommending you for narrative. This is the future, by the way. And again, I said, I had a thank you slide at the end. I didn't say a thank you slide at the end, right? I had a thank you slide, and that's my conversation with my Copilot. And boom, you go. That's it. It gives me a beautiful thank you slide, right? So this is the future in how work is getting reimagined, right? Top use cases, what we're seeing in the industry. This is reality, right? Copilot's one of them for sure, across the board. Call center, India is a call center nation. Ton of use cases for Copilots there. The question is, there is potential for sure, but the question is what you want to build, what do you want to build, right? So with that, thank you so much, and I'll take a pause for any questions you may have. Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead. I think you can take a mic. Yeah, in the front. Yeah, I think you can do next. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Very interesting presentation, by the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One very quick question. So we do dashboards in Power BI for our clients. The demo that you just showed, if we were to do that, what would it take to do that?
You just have to. It's public. It's a public preview of that happening as we speak. So sign up for the public preview. You should be able to get access to Power BI Copilot. That's it. So see, Power BI is a SaaS offering, right?
We are already using Power BI extensively.
Perfect.
So we may have about 80, 90 dashboards which we give to all of our clients.
Nice.
But I mean,
that capability?
That capability that I
yeah.
want.
Just have to sign up for public. There's a public preview that's open right now. Sign up for it. You'll be in a queue. You get access to it, right? And that should be it. So, I mean, you'll see a difference in terms of productivity. You might take 2 days, 3 days to do a dashboard. You might do it in about 2 hours, beautifully done with help of a Copilot. That's the future. So sign up for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you so much.
How does this what is the implication of this to higher education?
Okay.
And what could be the use cases in the world of higher education, particularly skills and related areas?
Wonderful, brilliant question. In fact, if you ask me, if there are 2 industries which will immensely benefit from the innovation is education and healthcare. Let's talk about education. Now, I don't know how many of you know Khan Academy actually is building what they call as Khanmigo. So Khanmigo is a virtual tutor. It's GPT-4 powered, right? And again, Khanmigo operates in Socratic style. That means never give you answer. So typically today, children may go, or even just throw a question to ChatGPT, it'll give you a beautiful response. Cut, paste, copy, submit, report. Not a great thing, but if you want a virtual tutor who will guide you towards a response, that is Khanmigo. Now, one is for students. They're also creating an equivalent assistive tech for teachers to create lessons plan, creating MCQs, verifying responses, because it's multimodal, right? You may have scanned, question paper or answer papers. You should be able to use GPT to basically do this. So 2 things. One is, I think higher ed will be, I think today, if we all envy students because look at the innovation they have in front of them, right? They can learn faster. I would say ability for us to learn faster, better is a reality, right? Again, the question is using responsibly. You might get response for sure, but are you curious to know how it's solved, right? What's the way forward? I think that's where each of us should wear a responsible hat and do it. But otherwise, higher education is in for a fantastic ride from here on, with the power of conversation AI and the reality of this. This brain has all the information on this planet right now, and you can reason with it. Yeah.
So, so next question is.
Yeah. We can catch up offline. Yeah. Sure. Where are you?
So,
yeah.
hi. So my question is, when do you think the GPT-4 API costs would reduce?
Okay. So see, I think every effort is being made to get that to appear like a commodity API, right? That means you should be able to use it at scale. Early days, right now, if you look at, you don't have to use GPT-4 right away. You can use 3.5. 3.5 is a lot more, I would say, initially the cost versus what we have right now, it's 1/10 of the price right now, right? So you should use 3.5, latest version 6.3.1, because that's a lot more closer to GPT-4, right? Again, by the way, look at it this way. When you want to solve a problem, there are a lot of other APIs available. It's a manifestation all coming together. Just don't rely on GPT. You have other, let's say, for example, you want to do sentiment analysis. You have an API available outside of GPT which can do that for you, right? Which is highly accurate. So you have to manage cost and performance. And the short answer to your question is yes, probably in the near future. You would see. I mean, this can't be like this forever. Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Yeah,
here.
please. Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
It was a wonderful presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
I have a question because it's more related to the cultural issues when you use ChatGPT. Because if you are in US,
Yeah.
Are the results going to be different? Or if you are in India, the results are going to be different? That's my one question, which is
Yeah.
related to culture.
Yeah.
The second I would like, because I'm in healthcare industry in US, I would like to know, you gave some fantastic example about the education.
Yeah.
But is there any disruption going on in healthcare? I would love to know about that.
Both
Thank
brilliant
you.
questions. In fact, first one, culture. See, let's understand this. I mentioned earlier, this model has no conscious, has no contextual awareness. So by default, when you interact with the system, unless you give, which geography, what's your persona, right? Unless you give that, model can assume anything, right? So hence, it's not, by the way, culturally, it's not aligned to any one geography. No, none at all. But for you, interaction to be a lot more meaningful for your, let's say, genre or your culture, etc., tell the model, hey, by the way, I'm from South India, right? I basically love South Indian food. Now recommend, I'm visiting Delhi, where do I find good food? If your question is where do I find good food, it will tell you North Indian specific restaurants. But unless you tell the model I'm South Indian, I like, so how will the model know? So make the model context aware. So the model has high reasoning capability. Unless you give the context, it will not be contextual for you. So prompt engineering. Prompts is the way forward. Healthcare, I can give you an example of Nuance. Nuance is one of the acquisitions we did as Microsoft. It's an ambient documentation tool for doctors. Today, by the way, that's speech to text. When doctor and patient are talking, stat says that doctors after they see a patient, they spend good amount of time documenting what happened in the discussion because it's required. Now, using a AI-powered documentation assistant, that means doctor in their OPD room, they switch on the mic and they just start talking to the patient. System is listening, automatically it will convert transcript, right? And that means you're saving time for the doctor. So now, generative AI here, it's basically converting your transcript into a electronic medical record and pushing it to Epic. Okay?
Last question.
Sorry? Is it doing the coding also for them? Absolutely, absolutely. So all the stuff is practically possible, right? But yeah, it is here and now. Healthcare, education, huge benefit. I know we're out of time. I'll be outside. You can continue the conversation there.
Hi,
Yeah?
Sandeep.
Last
Hi,
question?
Sandeep.
Okay.
I'm building something on the tax and legal side on the GPT.
Yes.
What about forced hallucination? What are your thoughts on that?
What, sorry? What?
Forced hallucination. Forced hallucination. So
Post hallucination.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. By the way, I was at a KPMG event last week. It was all chartered accountants, right? All auditors. So I think they're in for a treat again in terms of ability for them to reason information. So let me tell you this. In fact, most of you on LinkedIn, right? So this is again, I'm doing my own advertisement. I posted a video today on the topic of hallucination, right? What are hallucinations? Why do models hallucinate, and how do you minimize it, right? Just look at that video. Now, quickly, hallucination is, for most of you, it is models' behavior. It's called error with confidence. It will tell you things which are not right in the most confident fashion that you have to believe it. Now here, when you ground the model on your fact, the models right now will least hallucinate. We've seen that, right? So there are techniques to minimize it, but hence I would still go back and tell you it's a Copilot. You are in control. You will never let machine take decisions. You look at this, well, it looks like it doesn't sound right. Can you throw a question back, hey model, looks like your response is not right, I think it is so and so. Model will go and say, hey, I'm sorry, I misread your question. Let me do a calculation once again. That's why I said conversations. Don't look at one question, response back. Converse with the system. Okay? Thank you so much, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sandeep. And I must stay, please, Sandeep. It's my third time I'm seeing this presentation of yours, and every time when I see, there's always new and always goosebumps after seeing this. So how many of you got goosebumps, especially after seeing that converting from Word to PowerPoint and how it is going to change?
Wow.
And thank you, Sandeep, for giving such a beautiful presentation. And please don't go, because the next session is also on this topic. But before that, Sandeep, thank you for your sharing the knowledge with us. And we would like to present a small token of gift from TIE. And thank you for our speaker gift partners, Lenskart, the Good Glam Group, Sidona Hygiene, Yukta Media, for these wonderful gifts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just implemented, started implementing OpenAI.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.